Let's get sweaty.
Hey guys, welcome to a Shenmue Dojo video. Today's video, we're celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Shenmue 3 announcement at E3. So I want to take the opportunity to go through some of the build-up to the event itself, the announcement on the 15th of June 2015, which is mental, some of the aftermath, and also the legacy that it's left behind it. So it's quite a broad topic area. There's going to be lots of going around screens, old posts, news articles, and all the rest of it as we skim through all of the build-up, all of the announcement, and the aftermath and legacy of the Shenmue 3 Kickstarter, which was announced 10 years ago, which 10 years ago, going that quick is mental. But this was the ultimate dream. This was announced at the E3 of Dreams. This was out of nowhere. But when you look at some of the evidence and what came up at the time of the build-up, actually, it may not have quite come out of nowhere or as much of nowhere as we think. So let's dive into the build-up around Shenmue 3 and this announcement. So obviously, the campaigns were in full swing. There were various polls that the Shenmue community had won, and Shenmue's name was out there. The hashtag Save Shenmue was going really, really strong, and it was well known the community were buzzing and looking for this. First and foremost, there was a little odd rumour from Square Enix, which I'm going to bring up on the screen for you right now. This has come off of pushsquare.com a few years back. And basically, it was insinuated and then disproven that Square Enix were going to fund a Shenmue 1, 2, and 3 based on this image that popped up. I don't know where quite it popped up from, but again, it popped up. People got talking about it, but it was then disproven. Then, ironically enough, they say that you've been better off writing a novel or something because Shenmue 3 isn't ever getting made. Now, when you look back at that comment, it's a little bit ironic. But all the same, they weren't to know. None of us were to know. But that was like the first little rumour, but got disproven very quickly. A few days later, so this was at the end of May 2015, Yu Suzuki revived his Twitter account. And there was a small post on his Twitter, which is going to be up on the screen right now for you. I'll just quickly translate it. This is on the 26th of May 2015. And it literally just turns around and says, "I'm back on Twitter." So it's all quite sort of, I know, straightforward, not a huge amount going on with it, I guess. But again, it was one of those things that is like a little snippet of things going on. So you think, okay, fine. This, the man is kicking about, things are going on. But then, June the 14th hits. And we have our friendly forklift tweets. Now, for those of you who know about this infamous tweet, Yu Suzuki got the bollocking from Sony for doing this, although it was a rallying call to the Shenmue community that something was going on at the time as well. But for those of you who haven't seen it, I've got to bring it up. You know what this is. This is the infamous forklift tweet from E3, and it just says, "Found this at E3 with the forklift." So, yeah, for a Shenmue fan, that was like a moth to a light bulb sort of thing. That was like, hello, something just may be going on here. But then invariably, the Dojo forums would have picked this up. So sort of coming then across to the Dojo forums, obviously the topic was being discussed at length here. So you had an initial sort of topic about his Twitter account sort of coming back online, which obviously had the forklift tweet in there. So people were like, not too sure about this, not sure. But then you had a news article pop up by Jeyu Akatu, who basically said that this was before it happened, before the announcement that Shenmue 3 was going to be a PS4 exclusive, and Quantic Dreams were involved. Now, they came out and tweeted later that day to say they're not, and had respect for the franchise, and were going to do their own thing. But this then got very interesting. On the same day, Sunday, June the 14th, snippet from the 500k that Peter posted, that Gio Corsi was going around following people on Twitter, and he followed Yu Suzuki. Again, that whole snippet of information, that forklift tweet, the follow, it was adding up. Things were happening. This, for whatever reason, was the E3 that we all felt compelled to watch. Now, this then takes us over to early hours of the morning. So it's the 15th of June, early hours in the morning UK time. I stayed up for it. A lot of us did. And I'm so glad that we did. So we had the E3 of Dreams, people. So we had Final Fantasy VII Remake announced. And that's still going on now. That's, insane in itself. Last Guardian, one of my favourite games from the PlayStation 4 era, was announced as not dead and coming to PlayStation 4. It was obviously originally on the PlayStation 3. Then, sort of, you get to the Kickstarter section. You've got Adam Boyes up there talking away, going, blah, 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 Kickstarter. And this is a game that people have been very, very, very vocal about. The music hit. And I'm getting chills saying this right now. That is when I lost my shit. That is when we knew Shenmue was back. The reactions from people on the forums, in the media, the Kickstarter went live, it broke because of all the traffic, and 14 pages into the dojo topic that I've linked previously, everybody was celebrating, media outlets were everywhere. That was it. Shenmue 3, after so long, after so many campaigns, after such a hard push, after all that hard work, it was happening. The Kickstarter, yes, I'll discuss the Kickstarter in a minute, but Shenmue 3 was announced. Now, coming into the aftermath of this thing, it was immediate joy. The Shenmue community was celebrating wildly everywhere, throwing money at that Kickstarter as quickly as he could. Kickstarter records fell, guys. This, highest funded video game on Kickstarter of all time, which stands to this day. Shenmue 3 was the fastest to $1 million in crowdfunding in 1 hour 44 minutes. It was the fastest to $2 million in 8 hours 43 minutes. That was massively, massively positive. The whole thing was just absolutely mental. But there were some immediate issues around this as well, and I'd be remiss if not to talk about them. One of which was the funding that Sony were putting in. Now, later on, we obviously understood that they were only putting third party in and some support. They didn't really get involved in development, but the messaging at the time was mixed. Gaming outlets ran with it, and in my informed view, I think it harmed the Kickstarter. I think it harmed what we could have ended up getting. And I know Cedric said that to me when I interviewed him back in the day. But, that's a very small blemish, I guess. I don't want to downplay it, but it's a very small blemish on what was a very successful night Kickstarter on the whole in terms of the funding stream of it. The rest of it I'll come on to later. It also, believe it or not, drove a surge in second-hand Dreamcast sales. Now, bearing in mind, at this point in time, Shenmue 1 and 2 on the PlayStation 4, Xbox PC, hadn't happened. So the only way to play it was either through a Dreamcast emulator or on native Dreamcast hardware. So prices of Dreamcast and Shenmue just shot through the roof. So that was, again, a big aftermath sort of factor to this, that then it just drove everything forward in terms of interest in Shenmue, the Dreamcast at the time, the surge in sales, and it was just one immediate joy. And there was loads of those good experiences all the way through the Kickstarter. Yes, marred with some odd decisions in some parts. I'll come on to Epic in a minute, but the immediate aftermath to that was something that you had to be there, and it was utterly fantastic. And I still, like I say, I still get chills to this day talking about this announcement and how it came about. So yeah, mental, absolutely mental. Well, then we come on, I guess, to the legacy of this thing. Now, the most immediate legacy for anything like this is never ever give up on your dreams. Never give up on a game or anything, because you never know what's just around the corner. So the Shenmue community is an absolute testament to that, and still is to this day with the push for Shenmue 4. The hashtag Let's Get Shenmue 4. We're not giving up, we're pushing, because we know we've got first-hand experience here that something special can again happen, and I'm sure will again happen in time once things align themselves. So let's keep the faith in that sense and keep pushing. We are in a bit of the same boat, I admit it, but with in on board, there's other things, potentially going on for all we know. It's fantastic that they are interested and want Shenmue to be pushed forward, certainly from the statement they released, which is fantastic. But then also you've got to look at, I guess, the negative side a little bit to it, as well as some other positives that I'll come on to. You would argue that in some aspects, trust in Kickstarters was certainly impacted by this. The Epic deal being one of them that Deep Silver obviously pushed upon WiseNet and everything around it, and the fallout from that, which was a really divisive time within the Shenmue community and really took the wind out of the sails, I think, is some of the hype towards Shenmue 3 coming out. I don't think it necessarily impacted sales too much because essentially Shenmue's always been a console game. But again, it's that needless press around it, some of the miscommunication around the Kickstarter. Obviously James and I've done a podcast on this again. That also harmed, I think, and took some of the wind out of the sails to the Kickstarter and all the aftermath around Shenmue 3 at the time and the potential and follow-up release to it. Again, obviously the game came out. Whatever you think of it, we actually physically got Shenmue 3 in our hands. It's on my shelf behind me. And that in itself is an absolute miracle. But a wider legacy of that as well. Without the Kickstarter, you don't get Shenmue 1 and 2 on modern platforms. You just don't get it. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. There's no way. Now, I can accuse Sega of doing a massive cash grab on it, and people will probably agree with me in some aspects on it. But it was a smart business decision all the same. So it made sense for them to do something like that. So you can understand where that came from. You would not have got Shenmue the anime either. The whole Shenmue 3 Kickstarter, the build towards Shenmue 3, and then Jason DeMarco picking it up and go, let's make an anime out of it. Doesn't happen without the Shenmue 3 or the Kickstarter. It just doesn't happen. You don't get that revival in the series. Now, people can argue and talk about whether the series is dead again or not. My view is there are obviously things that could have gone better, but Shenmue is still alive, it's still here, and it's still there. That's the biggest thing that we can take from this legacy. Now, you can say, some people will go and say, Matt, sorry, I don't agree with you, Shenmue for us is dead. That's fine, but I don't believe that, given all the things that have happened after this Kickstarter, and hopefully with In Games coming on board and looking at what they're doing with Shenmue 3, maybe that'll just then push us over the line to a Shenmue 4 for all I know. But it has given us, at the end of the day, a lot more Shenmue content. The re-releases, as I say, merchandise, Shenmue 3 itself, the anime, and just revived interest for the community in Shenmue and united the community at that point in time. Yes, you can look at the fallout from Shenmue 3 a little bit and go where that went, but at this moment in time, looking back and looking where we are now, the community is united, we are pushing forward, and hopefully we get towards Shenmue 4. But the ultimate legacy of this whole thing, the build to it, the announcement, the aftermath, is just one where you look back with very fond memories. You look back and go, do you know what, guys? No matter who you are in the Shenmue community, whether you were owning any of the websites or whether you were just somebody sat there behind the scenes just tweeting very quietly every month, you had that impact to make this happen. And that in itself is a big legacy in gaming, and it's a legacy that should never be forgotten, because at the end of the day, it proves that no matter what, in no matter what adversity, things like this can happen, and I'm sure it will again. Anyway, guys, I'm going to round the video off there. Thank you for sticking with me as I sort of gushed all over this. It is a very fond memory of mine. I'm sure of yours as well. Drop in some comments below. What's your memories of this and the build up to this? Have I missed anything? And let's just talk about this, because this was an iconic moment in gaming, whether you like Shenmue or not. Don't forget, guys, like, share, subscribe on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and all the usual places. Don't forget, for £2 a month, you can be a member and get all videos like this ahead of time. All the running costs are then covered through the video membership that James and I incur through the website, etc. But don't worry if you don't, because everything then just goes on to the relative scheduling system that we've got going over on YouTube. As ever, guys, thank you for dropping in on the content and enjoying this video, and I'll be back with another one in the not too distant future. But for now, guys, happy 10-year anniversary to the E3 2015 announcement, and I will see you soon. All the best, guys.